Tonight from the Intel Esports Arena here in Copenhagen, Denmark, where we are kicking things up and picking it back off with the guys from the EU broadcast left. We've got a great show for you guys tonight, kicking off a little bit of complexity and OpTic, but we did just come off the heels of the Intel Extreme Masters there in Katowice. Let's go ahead and take a look at some of those memorable moments. What an amazing tournament that ended up being there. A best-of-5 finals going the full distance with all the rounds and all the maps. We did see some upsets, though, from our North American counterparts. And again, if you're just joining us for your first iteration of the North American broadcast of the ESL Pro League, my name is Trace, son of Saranthus, and I'll be directing this ship. I don't know exactly where we're going, but we're going to go there at a smooth and steady pace, because slow is smooth and smooth is fast, which segues right into my next point, where I introduce you two, my analysts, my esteemed colleagues. Guys, please tell the camera who you are.
You want to go off? I mean, I could start off, obviously, yeah. Vendetta, resident Norwegian, one of the few around in esports. Pretty much, yeah, I'll be here the entire month. Yeah. The entire duration of Pro League.
Outstanding. Pim.
Yeah, I'm also a Counter-Strike player, and I used to be better than this guy, that's why I'm here too. So we're the experts, and we're going to deliver the show.
Deliver the show, but not before I tell you about our friends at GameFlip.com. They are making this show possible right this moment. They are allowing these two other sprightly gentlemen to my right to be here.
I want to say I would date neither of you guys based off the Tinder profile that I just heard.
That's pretty bad.
Let's go have a go then.
I mean,
he would.
But they're both gorgeous, right? So there's always that.
Unbelievable. Well, guys, let's go ahead and just bring this one back full circle now that you've met the cast and crew of this comedy show. Just kidding. Guys, we have some pretty interesting matchups, but I think we should start by telling a little bit of the storylines there from Katowice. Let's start with Liquid even. And Pimp, I feel like you would have the best knowledge, the most insight out of anyone in our immediate vicinity.
I mean, I think they had a good tournament, and I think they're pretty happy with the result. Going to the semifinals at a big international event is always great, especially when you consider they're from North America. So overall, a great event. The fashion they went out onto Fnatic was maybe not too good. 16-7 on the last map. Didn't look too bright, but overall, I think they'd be pretty happy with the result.
Yeah. I mean, say if you want to talk about it, their counterparts really in NA, Cloud9, obviously coming off the Boston Major, feeling pretty hot. Haven't had the same kind of success in the two previous tournaments they've had, but still an extremely close matchup that they had versus FaZe, who obviously eventually ended up in the finals as well. So even though they go out in quarterfinals, it's not necessarily a sign of Cloud9. This is the end for them, and they're not going to see any sort of success to what we saw to start the year off. By any means. So I think it's just, a couple of errors here and there, just small margins preventing them from being in the semifinals or potentially another finals.
Small margins are what's separating the greats from the best.
Yep.
And believe it or not, those are two different people, too. Either way, let's go ahead and take a look at today's schedule, because we're not going to harp on them too long. Katowice was a decent showing for both teams. I would say they had nothing to hold their heads about. But this next set of teams, well, indeed, none of them were in Katowice at all. complexity and OpTic kicking it off, followed by a little Splice and Energy action, and then closing the night out with Luminosity versus Dignitas. Now, if you're just joining us, you will note this is match day number 4. That's because we've had 3 leading up to it. 1, 2, 3, and then right into the 4th one. Is that right, Pim?
Quick maths.
Pretty good at math. 1, 2, 3, 4, quick maths. Let's go ahead and take a look at the standings from across the board. Take it away, fellas.
I mean, somewhat surprisingly, I guess you could say, still early days, but complexity sitting atop with 10 points, followed by Luminosity, who, personally enough, took a map off of SK in the first week. We see Rogue there up as well, Splice too, also currently sitting in that playoff spot. So far, a lot of the, I guess, not that highly spoken of teams doing pretty well to start off the season, which is always cool to see and much needed as well.
much needed as well. Pimp, would you like to add anything at all?
I mean, it creates some excitement, you know, because as I said, this is early start of the season, and we haven't seen much from any of the teams yet. So the fact that they're already up there, they have some points on the board, that's pretty good, and hopefully it should make up for a great standing and some close series, you know, when it really starts to matter. Some of these teams are going to have to pick up maps from the Cloud9's, the SKs, and we'll see whatever they're able or not.
I'm not a big fan of hitting them when they're down, but if you're already there, you might as well just fire a few shots right in there, right? So hit them when you might could catch them on a travel day or in a position where they're just a little bit more exhausted than usual. But two teams that we're going to be looking at first, neither of them should have that excuse. We have OpTic, we have compLexity. And within this OpTic lineup, I believe we could start over here. Who would like to pick up the reins?
I mean, I think obviously the first big thing to note is the fact that this is going to be the first time we see OpTic actually play with the new lineup. Obviously, they have a bit of an international lineup with 3 Danish players that you know very well, and Shazam and Stanislaw too, to round it out, which is a very interesting mix of player. I'm really curious to see how this is going to pan out, but we've seen OpTic have some success with international lineups in the past. So I'm excited to see how this gets going, but the real question mark here in this lineup is Gade. I mean, coming from North Academy, not the player you would have expected to end up in a lineup like this. I mean, we can't know. We can only speculate as to why the 4 other players would want him in the trenches with them. So he has to have showcased something that we haven't necessarily seen. But I'm looking forward to see what he's able to produce over the course of the season. I think it's going to be an easier entry level doing it in North America than what it would have been to potentially being thrown into the EU Pro League.
It's a good point, you know, that it's probably going to be a little bit easier for him to fill in and mesh in with this lineup, as the level of competition is not going to be as high as in the European League. That said as well, you know, we talk about it in Denmark as well, and we're like kind of wondering why Gade, right? And when we speak around, we hear MSL, we hear all the North guys from the main team talk good about him. They saw him in the academy team. Cajun played in North as well with conflict, so they know him quite well, and they say he's a big talent. He got talent, and he got the desire to win, and that's the most important thing to mention about this guy. He has the desire to win, and he has to be pretty serious around this game, you know, have the right mentality, which is a thing we Danes not normally are known for having.
Yeah, I mean, heart and soul it's pretty elusive. Let's be honest, guys. And there's one man on compLexity that knows all about that, but we're not quite there yet. We can go ahead and tie in these other guys. I think that they're enjoying themselves so much that they would like to get in on the action here, in Harry and Jason. Now, when we look at this lineup here with OpTic and compLexity, Jason, how are you feeling about this?
I just had one question. I just want to ask Pimp. If you could give me 3 reasons why Glade was picked over you, that'd be excellent. Because you're this Danish player. You've had some success in the past. Why were you glossed over, man?
1, because I didn't want to.
Ah,
fair.
Nice.
Point number 1. We got 2 more to go.
That's not
2,
bad.
because I think he's more motivated than I am.
Okay, there it is.
And 3, because I think he's a better player than I am right now.
Oh,
wow.
That's honest.
There wasn't as much banter as I thought there would be. That didn't go the way I
I'm not
planned it.
picking up the bait from you today.
Guys, the great banter is there, but I want to ask you real quick, who do you got to win? Ready, go.
OpTic, no doubt.
Yeah, OpTic easy.
OpTic, no doubt. And only time will tell. And guess who has plenty of that on their hands? That would be Jason, Moses O'Toole, and that dude Harry standing to his right. Take it away, fellas.
Thanks, boys. Excellence, as always, from those 3 gentlemen on the desk. Yes, Harry, we're going to get live into this one. It's, yeah, are you excited for this OpTic lineup?
I'm very excited. I've been waiting to see them all week, actually. Yeah, ever since we got back from Katowice, I've been looking forward to seeing how they do.
Yeah, and this, I think the interesting part as well is someone like Stanislaw, who's obviously been on the previous OpTic Gaming lineup, had a lot of success with them, some drama on how he exited, but just another strong player in the North American scene. This is actually a pretty scary lineup, all things considered.
Yeah, I mean, you can go ahead and just move some Danes over to the US and then look to try and wreck a Pro League. I mean, it worked kind of last season with the experiment bringing in, Freiburg, HS, and all those guys. So, I mean, I think this roster is like an even better iteration of that, borrowing more good things from EU and then merging them with some of the best NA has. At least that we're free agents, right? So
yeah, bold statement. This compLexity, it's kind of cool to see them at 3-0. I think the big thing to note is it was Cloud9 only had 1 game played. Liquid had 0 games played. OpTic as well as a team that we probably expect to be in the top 6. So there's a lot of teams that are going to have dangerous results throughout the season that have yet to get started, and obviously at least one of those is going to be completed today with their first couple of games. But compLexity overall, still with Def, and obviously PTR coming in. FNS, I think, is an interesting one as the in-game leader. But they've got a lot to show here in this first match.
yeah, yes they do. And, I think they've looked good so far. I want to try and see if they can keep that going. OpTic, they're going to be over on the CT side, kickstarting this. And, well, already from compLexity, going to be aggression up towards the top of mid. There are 4 players here, actually, for OpTic. So they've gone for the stack early on, and well, Stanislaw isn't going to stand the test of time, but Shazam is going to be there to answer back.
Not too aggressive up mid, and they've kind of been blocked off by this smoke quite obviously, and OpTic early on was content to have config as the only B defender. They're now rotating Cajun over towards that side of the map. So Shazam and Gade are going to be the last two remaining here at A, as compLexity still has yet to make their final decision. 4 players going to come up in this direction. Here's a smoke over for Small Pit. That's a great shot onto Shazam to open things up. It's all on Gade. Question marks. I doubt a lot of players and people in the North American scene studying this have watched him play ever. And that's not a great first start. It is just the pistol round, but 0-0, and the bomb's going to get planted, and a very small chance of having a successful retake.
Yeah, it's all going to fall onto Cajun B and a config. They're going to start to creep their way in. Gade not really getting much done from Pit, has now left him in a tricky scenario. They're going to start to push on through. Cajun B, man on the entry, has spotted the head of Ye, but he's going to be sent back. Now it's config 1v3, not meant to be in compLexity. They're going to lock themselves in the pistol round here early on over on the T side, which is always good.
1-0. Yeah, there's not a whole great chance of a retake there. So we are going to see a force up into the next round from OpTic. They are going to get the armors and pistols out. Shazam holding off for an AWP as early as possible. And compLexity with a good start to the game. At least a chance to have a good start to the game if they can get through this one. It's going to be a double stack in these A-holes. Gade and Cajun here, and FNS going to be the first to turn the corner. He spots Gade looking in the direction. Immediate trade that cannot be built upon, and Shazam here with the deagle misses his initial shot and just going to start falling away. He's got a lot of pressure coming out of him. He's got to hit these headshots. They've got to be incredible, and he misses the first two, and his life is pretty much over from here. Config and Stanislaw just going to evacuate towards T-spawn to save.
Yeah, no sense going down to these SMGs when they don't need to. Now, yeah, compLexity, as I said, they've looked good as of late. I saw them quite recently play in the ECS Challenger Cup to move up into the main league there. And they actually, I think they were the first team to qualify through. They looked very good. They won all their games. I think they only dropped like 1 or 2 maps throughout the whole thing. So I do think FNS has been a great addition to this team. In particular, players that we've really kind of seen come into their own on the back of it is, you know, in my opinion, Android and Ye.
Yeah, I mean, obviously the young stars still plenty of room to improve and still plenty to show, I think. And obviously it would be a huge benefit to compLexity if they can. And I've talked a number of times, I don't need to go too deep into it. FNS is a pretty underrated in-game leader, I think, in the region for the moment. And in terms of what he can do in starting a team down off a right path, he hasn't really developed to the point where he's been able to like make a championship contender or you know, a team that can make deep runs at all the top events. But certainly he's gotten a couple of teams to those points. And we'll see if this one's going to be any different. The development of EA and Android would help that massively. Just pistols, no armor for OpTic. And a stack towards the B-bomb site is going to be the incorrect guess.
Yeah, and so this one should just be a pretty clean round for compLexity. A chance for them to build some money up with these SMGs. And well, as you say, OpTic, they've incorrectly stacked one of these sides. Actually, it looks like you might be seeing a player wrap through. Now, Gade is going to lie in wait. And, well, there you go. Doesn't manage to get anything done. It's just going to go down. Not expecting too much, so it is only vanilla pistols, as you say. They're going to start to wrap into B, which is the most stacked of the two sites. So potential to do some damage here for OpTic. Anything they can take down would be a bit of a blessing, but it doesn't look to be the case. And Yeezy, we're going to go for the knife. compLexity will grab themselves that third round, and quite importantly, they go ahead and keep all 5 players alive.
That's kind of funny. That stack actually ended up being the correct call with the split towards the B-bomb site. Why not? Doesn't yield anything still. Op on Shazam. He's got light armor, and as often is the case in the 4th round of Inferno for the CT side, is missing out on a whole bunch of utility. There's only 1 flashbang in the entire kit of OpTic, and there's no kits. So they've got to be very careful. They need to have a lot of success in the initial defense, and that's going to help out massively. Shazam with a deep peek in towards middle. Takes off the head of Ye. Peter's still got his AWP, and Def's able to swap out for an AK-47, so not all is lost, but a good advantage for OpTic early on.
Yeah, already things are heating up as Manify is taken for OpTic. I've always thought Shazam has been pretty good on that AWP. That was kind of the time within Misfits where he was really the driving force along with the two Frenchmen. So I do like seeing him in this roster. He's already gone ahead and fallen away. Keeping an eye on apartments now. It does leave long open, but the smoke's gone down for it. They grab control of the top of mid. OpTic not too keen on creeping down Banana in the meantime. They're keeping the players over on B very, very passive, so no information as to where compLexity are, but they know that there are a couple of players up here towards top middle, and Shazam looks like he might be about to make contact.
Indeed he will, unless he's smoked off, and now he's going to have a decision make where to wrap around towards. Both of his chances, both of his choke points are blocked off by smoke, so it's the double pit that's got to have the success. That's a great win from Cajun B and Glade, and the fact that it's a double kill for Cajun is going to seal this round and no losses taken, and that's beautiful for OpTic. Going to be able to build up the economy, build up the utility they'll have into the next round, all from that opening pick, and compLexity not able to find any success. Now into a double up setup for the OpTic side.
Yeah, Bias going to be coming back in at full compLexity. They have the AWP up now on PTR. Going to be a bit limited on, I was going to say on utility, even though Android gets dropped, so he's all fine. And, I don't know, where's that AWP gone? Config, he's taking it over here towards B, while Shazam going to be holding the aggression out through alt mid. I'm curious to see if OpTic go for some heavier Banana control this time. We've seen that they've been playing it very, very passively, but now having that second AWP does enable you to lock down the angle from Car, and now they're going to go boosting up Config. The smoke has fallen in aggressive. Yeah, he's the man right now who could make all the difference. Flash goes through and Config, he is none the wiser. Now stands here alone. Has three players slowly but surely coming his way, and right now they don't know that he's there. He's going to go peeking out, able to get himself 2 and a third. So he's done work early on, somehow turned this round completely on its head. And now it's actually OpTic back in the driver's seat.
That's actually incredible. Config gets caught off guard, and then the triple spray from Stanazon, not even with the help of Shazam, who had rotated over. Molotov going to come out to delay, allow him to get into a new position as that smoke towards CT spawn did block his vision, and Android going to lead the way. They do have some utility, some flashbangs to use. There's one, but it actually blinds Android as well, so his take is a little bit slower. Gade going to start rotating over as that smoke gets deployed, and Shazam really just needs to live. Getting a kill would be great, but if he dies here, that's a disaster. So Gade has now arrived, and Cajun is on the rotate as well. It's going to be a 3-on-2 retake, and a nade is out. That's great. Right into Android's face, down to 43. FNS going to try and get over towards Banana. Molotov to further delay things, but there are 2 kits on this OpTic side. Flashbangs out, not able to use them because of the flames. Another one, a follow-up. There's FNS out into the open. Gade's got to win this fight. And he does, but a double kill from Android, and Shazam misses the shot. He's the only player on OpTic without a kit in this 3-on-2, and he's just going to stick it. And I think he might have it. Android looks like he wants to peek this, and actually he's not going to. It's going to be a full defuse, and I think it's the scope that fooled him. The scope after the defuse was clicked, and that's heartbreaking for Android.
Yeah, he wins that 1v2 down in CT and then loses to the full 10-second defuse. That is mortifying. And yeah, I mean, the amount of times I've kind of seen diffusers, be allowed to just slide under the radar if you have the person diffusing with the AWP. The ability just to scope in is so good at fooling your opposition. It's
wild that it's just the full 10-second defuse as well. So OpTic, they did have the double up set up for one round. They go away from it. It didn't work. It was Config who had the other one, and he on the half wall, he got destroyed. But Shazam with his deep angle, and Ye is just going to burn alive. Nowhere for him to go, and here's the boost up again. It's Config one more time, but he doesn't have to worry about a scope here. He has the M4. Much more versatile, and I think he's been spotted out. He's actually playing a dangerous game. He wants to get more aggressive. Oh, what a recovery to spray over on a def, and Stanislaw can only get 1. But again, another 3-on-2 and another advantage for OpTic.
Yeah, man. Once again, it's the 2 players over at B, 2 go down. Now, luckily enough, Config was able to go ahead and find himself 2 kills before they were able to deal with him. So now it leaves all the pressure on Android and FNS, and they're going to start to reroute over here towards the top of mid. Now, there are actually AKs down on Banana, but FNS going to just stick with the CZ. Lines up this smoke over here towards the long angle. That is going to nullify this position of Gade, and now they start to wrap round. Shots through the smoke. Doesn't lead to anything just yet. They're going to go through as Android gets flashed on into it. Gade going to find him. And now it all falls on to FNS, the IGL for compLexity. He doesn't last long, though, as KJB finds it from the pit. Going to be OpTic in with a third round. And once again, the money not looking good for compLexity here.
Yeah, they did invest. They had, what, 3 AK-47s and 2 pistols that round. So some money was into it as the losing bonus builds up. But without a plant, they just can't buy into this one. So going to sit a round out, and they should have a pretty decent buy into the next round. I think Gade was actually getting caught on rap side through that smoke, but the flashbang was kind of a dead giveaway that someone was coming through. Here's aggression towards Banana. Config, they all line up for him, only able to get one again. Nades ringing out, and Stanislav backs off. The Molotov to make sure he cannot be chased down. Still a chance of that Deagle to have found him, but the damage done to compLexity, even with a kill at Banana, you gotta feel like they can't do a whole lot with it, especially no utility, no nades. And Gade is cheating over, but just now returning to A, so Stan will have all 3 players coming right at him.
Yeah, although his sight buddy has already done so much damage, config early on, while he was able to get 1 kill, he has tagged all of these players down to, I was going to say, you know, sub 40 HP, but not true. PTR still looking fairly healthy. It's Def, the only man with armor, who sits on 10 HP. That is kind of devastating. That means Ye has to be picking up the mantle with that M4. Shazam, going to be holding mid, has players coming his way. Def walks into it. Going to incendiary the corner to deny the ability to push on round aggressive and try to catch him off guard. Now it is just KJB up here in the graveyard. Aptly so called as he, I was going to say finds them both, but yeah, he's able to go and answer back with 1 more. Potential for the bomb plant here.
Bomb plant might have been nice, but can't fault them too much for going for the win. At least they're getting kills. I mean, that's kind of one of the crazy things about these rounds is that they are finding 3 kills, even if, you know, pretty much every single time. So you can see the economy for OpTic isn't as strong as they'd like it to be. Op is going to still be out in Shazam. But these buys onto the M4, I mean, everyone's pretty much depleted. It'd be a very awkward situation if they were to lose a round and have to have that discussion of what exactly they want to bring forward. Peter's going to look for a peek from Shazam. It's happened a couple times, but not this round. Shazam's actually going to switch up his position in towards Halls. Gade is here as well in Boiler. They're going to do a stack, so any Halls presence from compLexity could backfire almost immediately.
KJB just peeking on into it. He's able to go to drop one. Actually, FNS and Ye do manage to find both the players over in apartments. As now it all falls onto Shazam. Suddenly a lone defender here inside the A-bomb site. Rotation is going to be coming through from config. PTR already holding down the angle with the AWP. Flash goes wide. It's luckily I was going to say dodges it, but then comes back and actually gets the kill. It's all on Shazam. And he's going to go down at the hands of Ye, leaving this on Stanislav, the lone man from B. Rotating in through library. And while they say knowledge is power, that has to be true for him right now as he starts to make his way in. But 1v3, it's going to be tricky.
He's just going to give it up. And I mean, that's smart. There's not enough money behind this. Likely would have to, can't even drop one over. So yeah, this next round is going to be tough for OpTic. It's a really nice job from compLexity, having just marginal success in those 4 straight losses they took, and then a phenomenal job by Ye this round, trading in those halls. A little bit of a sloppy retreat from OpTic after that Boiler boost. They didn't seem to really know what their decision was going to be, if they were going to fall away immediately. And then obviously when you get a kill that early on in the round and you have so much map to work with, Peter holding off for the rotation from config with over a minute left in the round is just so deadly. Def might just walk right into this at the end, but Stan misses his shots. So he goes down as well, and now there's really nothing OpTic can even choose to buy around, even if they wanted to. I think they're going to full save because, you know, at 2,300, at 2,900, the next round can be pretty decent for you if you don't invest a whole lot this time. Stanislav going to, actually no, they're going to force up entirely. So UMPs come out, Famas comes out on Shazam, and the 2 CZs. They want to go for it. Seemed like a decision late into free time that was made at the last second.
And I'm curious to see how they switch things up here to try and make this work. Now, this time no aggression over towards apartments early on. You can see that B-bomb site holds become a lot more passive as well, with both config and Stan leaving the majority of top banana open to compLexity. compLexity lining up some flashes to go in towards the bomb site. Looks like they might just go for a bit of a faster hit, switching up the pace here, looking to try and catch OpTic off guard. Gade holding close with the UMP. Young gun in this roster, and he's going to go down straight away. FNS continues the aggression. KGB's fully flashed. They go walking into Shazam. And now KGB comes pouncing out. He's in with a second. Somehow he's still alive. Finally going to get put down. As Peter finds him, it all falls onto the B-boys, config and Stan in this retake.
Pretty good defense mounted against all those flashbangs that were thrown by compLexity. They've got to get by PTR, and Ye's going to drop the Molotov. They get in front of it. There's a missed shot. There's a chance. And actually, that was easy. That was far too easy for OpTic Gaming, for Stanislaw and config. One missed shot, it seals their doom, and I guess maybe compLexity caught off guard by how fast they were in front of the Molotov into the bomb site, and both CZs win their respective duels. So 5-4 as OpTic keeps the lead. We'll have to see what compLexity, what they have money for. It'll be another, well, PTR, just snapbot in AK-47. I don't know if that's out of frustration or maybe a call came out very early on. 2 AKs and 2 pistols so far. Ye has to figure out if he wants to drop down to a pistol or go for a UMP, and he's going to get the CZ.
Yeah, all in all, it's not that bad a buy. Now they're going to try and reset the OpTic economy, knowing that they've kept them modest. But look at this from Gade. He's already snuck down mid. No one's in position to actually spot this out. And FNS runs the risk of going down here. Gade doesn't spot him and does just go ahead and retreat. Now the other 4 players for compLexity on Banana here. You can already see that OpTic preemptively rotating Gade around. That's largely due to him not spotting anyone earlier on down in middle. compLexity, they've been given a lot of ground for free. Stan's able to find a great deal of damage, and Gade in with the Molotov somehow manages to get himself a second. Still trying to hold down the fort. Rotations are coming in. Ye's going to be allowed to get the bomb down in the meantime. There's now Ye and FNS left in this 2 versus 3. Rotations have taken a little while to come on through. Shazam down in CT, homing his sights in with the AWP. Hasn't spotted anything just yet as they start to wrap around through ruins. Trying to force Ye forward, but he somehow landed that shot again. He doesn't anticipate KGB being there as well, and now it's FNS. 1 versus 2, usually the brains of compLexity now has to be the brawn as well. Starts to sneak through the smoke. He's dropped 1, but Shazam is able to trade. The defuse will come in, and OpTic going to get onto a 6th round.
Yeah, but another really costly round, and Shazam's going to be able to keep the AWP in play, but 4 players die for OpTic. It was a really awkward sequence from config. Thought he might have at least gotten 1. It seems his aim is not feeling as crisp as he would like, but I mean, again, it's you can see a timeout coming in, and I would imagine that's coming from compLexity because they want to talk things over. They just got 4 kills. They want to decide here how much they want to invest, because they want to be able to punish this economy from OpTic Gaming, the fact that they know it's not built up, and that's kind of the big key that they're talking over right now. So, all in all, not a bad showing from compLexity in this half. 6-4 with a chance to keep things close here if they can reset OpTic one more time.
Yeah, I mean, compLexity, they've looked good, and they are a team that's been improving a hell of a lot. I mean, like I said, I saw them play only recently, and already things that we were kind of picking up on them where they looked to be quite sloppy in week 1 seemed to be getting ironed out. Admittedly, they had an easier run where I saw them play just recently. I think they played versus Bravado and Rise Nation, so not 2 of the greatest
the world's
teams.
stiffest competition.
No, but there were a lot of teams there, such as Splice and I don't even remember, some other people. But here we go. I was just so captivated by compLexity. That was all I focused on. Ooh, config, gonna start off with 2. The Danes doing damage as they destroy compLexity down in mid. Oh, that's crispy from config.
Yeah, that's kind of what you expect out of him. I mentioned that weird sequence he had in the B bomb site, missing some shots. You kind of expect config to be one of the players. I've been a big proponent of when the European players come over. We've had a lot of, like, it started out with like the tier 2 players coming over and saying, you know, there was the idea because North American teams years ago hadn't really accomplished anything that they were going to be able to just outskill and outshine all their North American counterparts. I've been a big proponent that that's never going to be the case, but config is one of those players that even on an individual level seems to be, you know, perhaps head and shoulders above some of the guys he's going to be playing in this region. 7-4. And compLexity with that death they took over towards Banana have no one in that side of the map. They do have PTR working his way up that mid-ramp, but one player is not going to take Banana control, and they're also very light on the nades they can use. So when they choose where they want to hit and how they want to hit it, it's basically the only opportunity they're going to have unless they can somehow punish a mistake from OpTic Gaming, which just doesn't seem likely. It seems that OpTic is going to be fine to take this 5-on-4 advantage and not risk a whole lot after that.
Yeah, I mean, they don't really need to play, they don't need to take any risks, rather. They throw out one of their only smokes, leaving them now with 2 in their very limited utility pool over here towards long. Stan is there with the UMP. Now they're lining up that much more to go on through. That's one of their other smokes taken out of the equation. That's going to go over towards, I believe that's over towards Library. Death starts to creep on forward. One man back to Banana. Stan is going to go down, but will they expect config, who's already here? He's dropped the bomb. Wants to try and get a bit more done, but FNS does deny it. There's 20 seconds here. Time's ticking down low, and Shazam still resides inside of B. Going to leg Android down low. 15 seconds, that's the bomb out in the open. FNS drops it. They have to contend with Shazam. They have to go and get the bomb. Time is so low, and Shazam just keeps swatting them down. Shazam, not going to find anything in through the smoke. Knife goes running in. PTR's found him, and what is happening in this round? Now PTR has an AWP. The bomb's ticking down. I'm confused. OpTic are confused, and PTR's going to go and reposition over here towards Dark. Just holds on to the aggression from Banana. Missed shot onto Gade, and now they start to come creeping in. Cajun B picks it up. And OpTic Gaming do manage to get themselves an 8th round.
That's a bit awkward for OpTic. And Shazam, I think he's obviously trying to jump in that smoke to be able to knife the planter. He had 3 stellar shots. 2 on those players. Obviously, dropping the bomb was the big win. I think that's a pretty underrated play from PTR. As he's coming into the B bomb site, he drops that smoke on top of the staircase, goes and gets the bomb, and he knows that planting inside the smoke is the only chance he has of getting that down. And he gets his team an extra $800. That's pretty awesome presence of mind in that kind of situation for PTR, if you ask me, even with no chance of winning. So 8-4, OpTic now starting to build this lead. It's starting to spread out, and Stan wanted to get aggressive, but the Molotov going to force him away. Good timing on that. It looks like compLexity just wants to be patient and follow it up with re-aggression down towards Banana eventually. But again, config wants to get up on this half wall. And again, I think he's just going to be forced away by perhaps the nerves of the situation. That's a lot of utility used by both sides to get control of Banana.
Just a standoff over here towards apartments between Shazam and Android. Shazam just going to go ahead and get off the angle now. They've used, as you said, a lot of utility up towards Banana. They didn't have much to play around with initially anyway. Now they've only got 2 smokes and 1 flashbang. It is the partial buy, so you know, all in all, it's not that bad. And that first smoke going to go over here towards long. Does now force Shazam away. And opens up the possibility for compLexity to wrap around this short side. Still have 1 flash left to try and facilitate this play. Shazam going to be watching for the aggression out towards long.
Double pit is going to be so difficult for them to get around with only 1 smoke on PTR. There's a Molotov as well. Cajun is going to be up on the balcony. That's Gade you see inside the pit, and Shazam going to get in front of that smoke as well. So this just gets more difficult. That player on Wrap, though, he can change things. FNS, when does he come through, and when does Gade peak? There's the first shot from Shazam. 1 goes down. There's PTR and FNS with 2, and somehow that's worked.
I don't know how they've done it, but they have. And now it all falls on the config and Stan once again. The boys from B are back in town. They're very, very used to retaking this A bomb site. They're going to start to creep on in. I mean, you imagine they have to find something quite quickly here to even justify going for this. No utility up for OpTic. Both players do have kits. And yeah, they're going to creep around. The time's tick low. Oh, we had a team damage done. Ye's going to find both frags there at the end, and compLexity take themselves a 5th round.
That's another one of those situations where you can point to the defense being far too passive. Like, you don't necessarily want to risk a whole lot, especially when you know they're kind of in a weird money situation. But the fact that the Pistols, the CZs, and Deagles are all allowed to creep up to that cart and lane without any knowledge, the fact that FNS is able to get all the way up Wrap side without any knowledge, that's a super scary thing to allow for a defense And you can see why. Like, they turn the corner and there's no chance to react. There's no chance to really help each other out. It's got to be great individual play to kind of buy your teammates time to get re-involved in the action. And there they just get shut down. Still, I mean, still you would say there's a chance here, a good chance for OpTic, and Shazam's shot gets baited out. Peter has the angle, and they both miss. Now they've got to think about starting to fall back because there's a lot of pressure here towards this B bomb site, and config just biding his time. Follow-up flashbang, there goes Shazam. Doesn't clear it. Oh, and he misses the kill. That's a disaster. Going to try and spray down a second, but Peter recovers. This is looking, they're going to get into this bomb site, and actually OpTic might want to choose to save this. It's looking like it's a great chance to be a 6th round for compLexity.
Yeah, there should be no way back into this for OpTic. They're going to go flashing through and boosting Gate up. The fan SBA holds it. I mean, at this point, yeah, you imagine the save call just going to come on in. They start to back away. There is a man, FNS, waiting down towards the bottom of Banana, who could potentially go on the hunt for these players, but I can't imagine the compLexity themselves want to risk too much here.
We have had a drop out of the server. Config left. Maybe a rage quit.
I mean,
love to
after
see that
missing
on
that,
day
yeah,
one.
maybe.
No, I doubt it's that. But either way, he's going to have to get back into the server. So likely, if he's not back in time, we'll see a pause here coming out for the game. Either way, great recovery from compLexity. I mean, that one round they win with Deagles and CDs, that's so crushing to what otherwise seemed like it was going to be a phenomenal half for the OpTic side. There's the pause coming in as we wait.
So one thing I have liked about this compLexity roster, at least, is how it seems like they're trying to run things right now. Is just to kind of pick, you know, I'd say like 2 or 3 maps and just become like really good on them. And it means they do have a pretty small map pool right now. But I don't know if you've noticed, Jason, but every time we've seen them play, it's always been on Inferno. You know, that they've always managed to get that in there. Even recently when I saw them at the Challenger Cup, they were able to get it to come up there a hell of a lot as well. And I think it's definitely showing. Like, you know, a lot of teams, the style is now, I think, is just to try and get, like, decent on every map as quickly as possible, right? But for these guys, they've been very much focusing on just making sure they kind of have, like, 2 or 3 nailed down and then okay on the rest. But I think it's working in their favor right now because their Inferno is pretty scary.
Well, I think Inferno is just such an important map in the pool at the moment. So, I mean, to be able to have it and be able to play it, pretty much everyone plays it. And you can see even like the teams who don't necessarily like it want to improve on it. You know, the SKs, they're putting a lot of attention on this. So it's just a very important map that you go through and kind of the ones we have to pick from. And this is kind of the one a lot of teams seem like they want to focus on. Config is back. It was just a quick PC reset. We'll be here for this 15th round of the opening half. OpTic has 8. It is 6 for compLexity as they have made a small comeback. It's looking 8-4 and 8-4 and saving. It looked like OpTic was going to get a really big lead into the second half, but that will not be the case.
Yeah, OpTic must be getting them. And compLexity, you know, could easily find themselves a 7th here. Imagine they do have the advantage in terms of firepower. We're going to need to see a great individual play from one of these OpTic players that do have a little bit more to work with. They have to be quite conservative with their utility here as well, because they don't have much to work with. And already over here towards this B-bomb site, they've actually expended all but 1 smoke. Config is going to try playing it close, does go through, and Def finds him on the other side of the smoke there. Man advantage taken for compLexity. Now Stan, he's going to re-smoke it. That's that one other piece of utility they had. It drained from this B-bomb site.
OpTic's going to have to rotate somebody over, you would imagine. There are 3 players in lane right now, all huddled around. 3 players with possession of Banana for the compLexity side, and they're going to fall back. They're going to hit this A bomb site, so we'll see how this stack works. This is the best chance OpTic has of just kind of snatching this round away in a 4-on-5. And where your B defender has no utility in a CZ, this is a pretty big risk to keep all 3 players here. Even if the attack doesn't come, which it's about to. There's the UMP spotted, nowhere to go. Gate's got to do more. They line up, but great kills. Down into a 2-on-2. They trade perfectly, and PTR cannot chase down Gate quick enough. And there he is, turning the corner. And that's handled as well by the new Danish in-game leader. And it's going to be Stanala rotating through. He's only got a CZ, but he's only got to take 2 HP away from
AK as well. Things get that much harder for Ye. Now, we've seen some impressive clutches from this man, but this would truly be unreal. He starts to around the corner stand, trying to spot him. Ye not looking the right way. Timing's going to be everything, and Stanislaw, I think he spots the barrel there on the corner, does manage to pick it up. That is going to be the defuse coming on through an OpTic.
9-6, so they're going to take a 3-round lead into the second half, which is pretty nice, all things considered. compLexity did win the pistol round, which helped out greatly. There was a pretty solid run there in the middle of that half for OpTic. But, I mean, a really good recovery. They did drop an anti-force buy, around, or an anti-eco, I guess it would be, around against Deagles and CZs, which kind of threw a spanner in their entire half. But overall, actually, I thought the OpTic side was a little bit shakier than I thought. I mean, I know they're a new team, so not passing too much judgment on them, but some of the just sequences seemed a little bit weird. Maybe the player's not acclimated to the States quite yet. Maybe just getting adjusted.
Yeah, you know, that could definitely be the case. I mean, obviously, in EPL. Obviously, I think I see a lot more longevity in this roster here. The other one felt like it had the potential to kind of be good for a while, you know, but they never seem to gel as well as I think this one has the potential to. You know, obviously,
I mean, this one just has like guys like config and Cajun who have had so much success over in Europe that it just feels a little bit nicer. And obviously, Stanislaw built up a really good reputation for himself as a player over his like. Yeah, there's a lot of things to be excited about for this OpTic team. I think it's just going to be a bit more time. I think we'll really see the OpTic we see today is going to be completely different from the one we see towards the end of the season. I think that product is going to be really cool to look at.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I'm always a fan of these like EU imports going over to NA, just seeing how well they do, because usually the teams end up like well. It too. But this one, as you say, like a lot more recent success on the undertone of a lot of these players, right? And a lot more established.
Well, it has, I mean, like I said, config is like the big guy that comes over that makes you probably feel the most excited for this roster. Like that is the name you look at and you just, like no matter what team he was going to join, you were going to look at it and say, okay, cool. Like there's some power, there's some ability to be dangerous on this team. So, yeah, he's a player that you feel like should come over to North America and in a lot of ways just be such a dominant force. Great counter nade and greater peek in towards halls from compLexity. We've actually seen the be aggressive and peek that window room and find a kill towards alt mid, and again it comes out from Android. That's Gade who has gone down. So if OpTic had an idea of providing some kind of a fake or applying some pressure over towards the A bomb site, it's now gone. It's Cajun who's just going to have to lurk there. And what that also does is take away one of the players with armor in this B hit. There are 3 defenders here as well. Here comes the smoke. The counter flash is perfect. The bomb is going to get planted inside the smoke, and config, he's going to get knifed.
That is not how I imagine OpTic envisioned this going.
I think that was actually supposed to be, I don't know if it was designed from the start, but the adjustment they made, right, was him jump into the smoke, tap the bomb, pull all 5 players over, and then Cajun has such a powerful lurk, and he might still be able to win this round for his team. If he holds them off just a little bit longer, compLexity is going to be very patient in how fast they get to this site, so there's a chance now. 3 on 4 as the bomb goes down. Stan is going to have to read this flank coming in. It is PTR, and he's done it. He's found an easy kill, and Cajun has combined in, and he's even aware of FNS coming next. And compLexity is having this round snatched away from their grasp. This is a beautiful adjustment. Originally didn't go according to plan.
Yeah, the kind of crazy thing about that there is I've seen that exact pistol round play out before. I can't remember the name of the team. It was a Portuguese team, and I can't remember who it was, but essentially, yeah, they throw that smoke down into B, plant in the smoke, and then actually rotate off back towards the A bomb site. And I remember trying to have a discussion with Henry about this, and he was adamant that, you know, if you can get the bomb down, just go for the bomb plant.
But you're never sure how fast someone is going to rotate when their teammate calls the bomb is being planted. Like, yes, it's going to start pulling more bodies, obviously, but if compLexity doesn't go as far away from the site, like then Cajun, if he doesn't have as much success getting to the other bomb site, then you've committed so much to a fake to a really risky fake that all of a sudden didn't work. Now here's some great mid presence, and there's a lot of weaponry to play with, and these two mid players allow a window for the players to be able to get out past, trying to divide his attention, trying to make the right call, and I think he's not going to. That's the attention. Now he pushes forward. Everyone peeking here, and it's a 2-for-2 trade, but they're out of the palace, and they're out of the A halls, excuse me, and they're going to get that bomb planted, and now it's easily to recover for OpTic.
Yeah, Peter is going to go out and get that one onto config over in library, leaving it a 1-on-2. He only has the UMP to work with. And it looks like he's just going to hold his ground. Look, try and keep these players inside the site. See if anyone does go aggressive. Try to hold on to the armor. And,
there's also two AK-47s dropped in mid, so if he wants to go for one of those right at the end, if he can find... It's all right. He still gets out with something. He's got a Molotov. He can pass the CZ over to a teammate. He can use the UMP with his armor, so there's still some things he can bring forward in the next round to maybe get 1 or 2 more kills and just try and keep that money as low as possible for OpTic. But that's a big investment into that round that is certainly going to sting in the 4th.
Yeah, I mean, we've seen dedication to it's definitely gone down, right? It's become much more common to just go for maybe 1 or 2 players with armor and there's some pistols behind it, and then everyone else either go for like a Deagle. All in all, you know, the utilities become so important in round 4. And,
I don't think it's like gone away because it's not effective. I think people just realize the risk on Inferno as a map where you have to have the utility is just so many teams just lose CT halves because their economy is never able to really get strong. They're never able to improve it. Then all of a sudden you have to really take that into consideration. This is a very fast wrap from config, and no one from compLexity is going to expect it whatsoever. There's the peek from Def. Shazam is dinked, but he's safe. Config slowly working his way in. PTR is going to get taken out. He's throwing a pop flash for his team, which actually did come off and did work quite chance of winning this, and that's an easy one from config, and he can even build up on it if he chooses to. The 12th round for OpTic.
Yeah, I mean, there was no way out of that for compLexity. They were sandwiched between, you know, two equally awful scenarios. A rock and a hard place, truly. You either go down to config with the Mac 10 or open yourselves up to the firing squad on Banana. But now the buy comes in for compLexity, and you have a decent bit of utility to work with. We'd like to have seen maybe a bit more on FNS, Def, and Android. That's the consequence of investing in that second round. Config, though, he's already all the way up Banana. Def, he's going to take that initial peek in. The flash goes out. Config going to fall on the aggression. That's the man advantage taken. Def still going to stick around a little bit longer. Does have Stanislaw chiming in, but no. Def going to get rid of him. Finally falls at the hands of Shazam.
Yeah, 4 flashbangs left. The bomb is all the way down towards T-spawn as well. That's been dropped. Let's see if PTR comes through this. There's the indication. Shazam saw something and sprays him down. Finds the equalizer. Dangerous play for Peter. Now Gade over towards lane. There is a smoke on the left side of mid, and FNS waiting behind it. It's timing here. There goes Pit player, going to get pushed out of position, and Cajun finds that. The bomb is being picked up and recovered right now. FNS can still stop it, oddly enough. Depending on where he decides to go, he could really turn this round into a disaster. Gade, an immediate headshot onto him, so that dream is gone, and it's just yay. From the B-bomb site, he doesn't want the fight. He's just going to save the M4. Looking like OpTic going to take a huge, huge advantage, and the money for compLexity is going to be in the pits. In the bin, as you Britishmen would say.
Yeah, no, good old bin. I've heard way too much of, oh, what do you call it? Like a trash can or whatever, stuff like that. I'm never used to the North American words for things. Okay. But I've heard way too much of it recently. I'm glad to have some of the, you know, Brexit means Brexit talk going on with you, Jason. Especially in this game, you know, we got Def. Some representation from the UK.
There is Def. Yeah, that's speaking of projects of importing players, he was one of like the earlier ones to come over to the States.
Yeah.
And he was even here with his buddy Surreal for some time, and that's a project that I don't think has necessarily worked out too well for the organization.
I mean, now we also have Imi moving over to coach NRG, and they're playing later, so I'm curious to see how that pans out. Obviously, he also coming from the UK. Don't know what the sudden interest is.
They've got, what, Cirque as well? He's from Bulgaria, I think it is. Yeah, they've got a mix. They've got a hodgepodge, a true melting pot. The American dream. Well, 13-6. 1 M4 on Ye, CZs on the others, but only armor on Def. And even with some chip damage on the config of Santos, they played this B-bomb site on the CT side together as well. So maybe finding an unlikely pairing here between the two of them. And it's going to be Cajun on the other side of the map outside of A-Halls, who's just watching for any flanks, anyone to push up from compLexity.
So PTR and FNS will lie in wait inside of B here. Aggression comes through. Def just holding the angle along with Android, and KGB so close to discovering this. Got to go ahead and throw out one smoke to long just to keep the attention of these A players in that much longer, while the rest of OpTic have thrown out utility. Oh, miss Molotov. Don't want to see that. Config. Now forced a little bit further forward as a result. Going to keep creeping on in. FNS is to get off the boost. PTR is going to go and find the first. Now he hops down, and the flashes do slow the play in from OpTic. Stanislav's got him by, but PTR in with a second. And now FNS going to emerge as well up from top of the coffins. Okay, here's the player wrapping around. Has been tagged down low to 48 HP. Rotation coming through from Cajun B, but it can't arrive fast enough as Gade, he's left fighting for his life in critical condition here. He's going to go down. And now it's Cajun B. 1 versus 4. Does smoke off coffins. Bombs down out in the open. So many players here for compLexity. There should be no way for him back into this round. Shots rain through from CT and compLexity. They will manage to find themselves a 7th.
It's an absolute disaster for OpTic. They had everything going for them. You got to wonder where that missed Molotov was going to go. The fact that PTR gets 2 kills from that position instantly with the CZ, I don't even necessarily think it was a bad job from OpTic. It was just incredible shots. And you can really see the strength of that gun, which has come under fire recently. Obviously, it actually, I don't think it ever really stopped, but a lot of attention brought back to it with Fallen's tweet after I am Katowice, posing the question if we, as a community, should think that it needs to be nerfed, which I think everyone's kind of agreed upon for 3 years now. There's a flash for PTR to take the peek. He's going far too wide, though, and config punishes it. PTR hanging out too long, and now Shazam's going to add something in. Only Def is responding, but the defense is being picked apart. Down a player, and they are very spread thin.
Yeah, there's only one man here inside of A. Rotation going to be coming through from Ye in 3 CT, and it looks like they might just gamble and send Def back as well. Android is to buy time. He does have Ye now here. He starts to push into the site. The crossfire set up. Cajun B's already found Ye. Now Android inside the pit has to have a massive performance. He only is able to get himself 1. And now it falls onto the shoulders of Def. 1 versus 3. Starting to push through. Gade's going to find him before he even emerges from the smoke. Going to be a team ace for OpTic. 14-7. And compLexity now in a very awkward spot. They're going to be investing down what they can. And while 4 of the players rather will have rifles and a little bit to work with, PTR's going to take the hit as he only has the CZ and a flash.
Well, he was the only player that died in their kind of upset win with the CZs in the previous round, so all the other players didn't have to invest in M4s. They salvaged the weapons over from OpTic, so that's just why this buy is coming out. Now it looks like they want to try and switch things up. They want to get aggressive. Nade stack down mid. OpTic's aware of it. That's the indication, and they're being very cautious, patient at the bottom of T-ramp. And how do they handle this? Yeah, gonna drop a smoke, but not ready for that peek. A great peek from config. This push, it's been stopped, it's been slowed. Gade has got to be careful about his timing. He's going to show before they're aware. Team pop flash over, that's beautiful. Double kill for him. He now knows where Def is as well, and he gets a 3rd. Tapping away, that is really good stuff. From Gade coming from Underpass, surprising compLexity. The worst game of whack-a-mole they've ever played.
Yeah, it's this one where the mole whacks you. But yeah, no, Gade, I'm really interested to see how he does in this roster. Of course, he played on North Academy for quite some time, and there were a lot of rumors about him, joining the main team, but then they instead ended up bringing in Kirby. So I am curious to see how he does. Right now, he's having a good performance in this game, at least. turning the tide of battle in that round single-handedly. And now they're aggressive up here towards the top of mid, where there are 2 players lying in wait. FNS just falling off the angle. Instead, it's Android and Ye to lock it down from short.
Just a quick pop flash. Simple, but effective. The stack is there. Ye and Android combine onto 1. They now have knowledge of where 2 players are. That's going to allow Stanislaw to take a more dangerous angle out towards balcony. Peeking into the bomb site config with a spray down through the smoke. Someone trying to pick up that weapon. And Ye is punished for it. So 4-on-4, and now we can see OpTic slow down. They can let their own utility kind of fade away because they've got plenty more to replenish it when the time comes. And Def now on the hunt. Couldn't find that timing. 2 players still left in the A bomb site, and PTR has to respect B. FNS going to be lured into a peek as well, trying to find information. And this is it. This is the collapse of compLexity. Not able to ever really get going in this second half. They did have, what, 6 rounds after their terracide, and not able to complete things on the defense. So moving up, Shazam's even watching this. All of OpTic prepared for the pushes after the initial engagement.
Yeah, and that will be that. OpTic, they win out. Inferno, fairly dominantly as well.
Yes, it was. I mean, yeah, it was a very big win from OpTic Gaming. It was very strong from them. They recovered quite nicely in some dangerous situations. Regardless, though, we'll see what happens on map 2. Not bad from compLexity. We're going to head to a break, and when we return, it will be the desk.